Welcome, everybody. We are here to talk about SGE. If you have used Google in the past year or so, you most likely have experienced SGE, even if you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that we're going to kind of talk about and express is that even though here at Spotlight Branding, we're not really big on SEO, or trying to get, trick the search engines or anything like that, we definitely recognize the potential of this AI, and we want to make sure that our audience stays on top of it, that they stay, in the know.
Yeah.
And let's get rocking and rolling.
Here we go. I mean, you're ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we go.
You want to start it off?
Yeah. So I mean, in plain language, I mean, we've already mentioned this, that you already know what SGE is. Again, it's an abbreviation for Search Generative Experience. If you don't know what it is, you probably already do. It's just Google's new AI-powered search tool. It's basically integrating conversational way you speak with AI, and is taking that and turning into search results. So regardless of, I mean, think of a prospective client of yours. A prospective client is looking for maybe the difference between wills versus trusts. I'm being intentionally broad and vague about this. They're not necessarily going to need to go to a website anymore to figure out the difference between a will and a trust, because SGE is just enhancing like the experience, and they're delivering synthesized answers based on a wide variety of websites. They're pulling websites and they're giving that short answer. You've seen it in top of the Google search. It's that it's going to say AI generating, and it's going to populate. I mean, and here's what it looks like. I mean, it's going to summarize answers at the top of your search results. It's going to give you citations and links to specific sources where Google is pulling it from. I mean, even crazier, you can actually have interactive follow-up questions for me to deeper explore the question you're getting here. So again, all SGE is doing is synthesizing answers for anyone that's searching for it. And in your world, as people searching for legal solutions, and instead of searching through websites to find their answer, they're going to get it immediately front and center on top of Google. So as we're going to go into, is how that impacts Google's rankings, Google search results, and whether or not it's going to change the way people search for information on the internet.
Yeah, and honestly, we're seeing it already, right? With the rapid rise of TikTok, where it was like short form video, right?
Yeah.
The rapid rise of short form video. And I think what we're starting to see is that shift of just time saving tools.
Yep.
Everything becomes super quick. Like we're not going to talk about this today, but there's something in the AI space called AI agents, right? And they're starting to emerge, and this is basically like huge time saving tools for almost anything, right?
Yeah.
And this is just, I wouldn't say the tip of the iceberg, because it's definitely a little bit more than the tip of the iceberg, but it's something that is only going to continue, on and on. And if anyone wants to know how a lawyer can become a billionaire, there's a quick little Google's AI has presented.
Yeah, no, I throw that little nugget in there. I like that.
Yeah. So Eddie, again, at the beginning, I said that we don't put a lot of focus here at Spotlight Branding. We don't put a lot of focus into SEO, mainly because the value there, it just isn't worth it.
No.
So why are we talking about SEO? But also, how does SGE impact SEO?
Yeah, so I mean, SEO, and I apologize for being overly simplistic. It's a search engine optimization, what people normally equate to getting their website on the first page of Google. I mean, nobody, and we've talked about this before, nobody really wants to go viral. Nobody really wants the first page of Google. What they want is more quality leads. I mean, they want more people in the door. But a lot of people mistakenly think that getting your website on the first page of Google is going to actually translate into quality leads. And a lot of people are trying to shortcut the system, with especially in the last 10 years. I mean, they're trying to figure out, what is Google looking for? How do I pad my website with as many things that Google is looking for? So when Google tries to tabulate or formulate search results, what are they pulling from? They want their website to be seen. I mean, we also know that Google's never actually specifically outright stated what their pure algorithm is. There's been speculation. They give a lot of tips at SEO, which we will go over straight from Google. But a lot of people equate this to keywords, as saying, if I put real estate, if I put Tampa, if I put Washington State, I put best attorney, it's going to populate the results that my potential clients want. So the thing is, because users are going to get direct answers from the search results, they may no longer need to click through websites to pull the answers. Now, the ironic part, which is I think that's one of the biggest things I've seen in marketing in the last couple of years, is now SGE isn't focusing on those keywords, isn't focusing on the backlinks, isn't focusing on a lot of the, I'll say, gimmicks or shortcuts that SEO companies employ. I mean, what they're actually looking for is authoritative content that directly answers the person's question. I mean, you can be featured in an SGE boost. I mean, it's going to boost your visibility. It's going to boost your credibility. I mean, granted, we are going to point out how this is ultimately unnecessary, because again, what we really want is qualified leads, and getting people on Google is not going to deliver that. They might deliver leads. And I always point out that someone contacted Spotlight Branding and said their name was, I think, was Chicken Nugget, and they want us to be a family law attorney. I mean, that's a lead. That is an actual lead, but obviously we did not work with Chicken Nugget. I mean, so what I'm seeing here is now SEO is shifting away from ranking pages based on the gimmicks and tricks, and looking for they're looking for content that's worthy of being cited in an AI generated answer. And so it's definitely impacting the SEO game, maybe, unless SEO is completely pivoting toward qualitative content versus the 20 or so things that SEO companies technically do on a SEO basis.
Yeah. I think you really covered. I don't think I have anything else to add to this slide here.
So weird.
Other than we're definitely seeing the shift already.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is that we're talking about it now, but this has been something that's been going on for about a year and just kind of slowly working its way into it. So it's only been a year of this, right? Now think about in like 10 years where it's going to be. So it's good that we're getting this information out now for sure.
Yeah.
All right. What Google does look for.
Yeah.
So eat. It sounds like something I'm going to be doing in a couple hours.
The thing about eat, and this is not something that we carry out. This is not something I came up with. It's not like Spotlight Branding came up with. I'm pulling this directly off what Google advises people to do to generate higher search rankings. This is not from us. This is not an acronym that we created. But I mean, it is speaking to what Google is now looking for. You want to go over the EAT principles, Mikey?
Sure. So first of all, the first E is experience, right? How can you show your expertise through personal or professional insight? I mean, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, this also ties back into your website, right? Because
oh yeah,
how SGE works, I believe we're going to talk about it later on, but I might be getting ahead of myself. But I believe that how the way SGE works is that it actually quickly looks through the websites themselves of the content that it wants to promote or to show its answer. So it's going through not only the blog itself to answer the question that's being Googled, but it's also going through the website to make sure that you actually are credible and you have expertise shown. And then secondly, expertise. Second E is for expertise. This is through your content, your blogs, video FAQs. This is the way that you're really going to even have a chance getting featured in the SGE is by having quality blogs, quality FAQs that answer the questions. They're not full of fluff, and they get to the point, right? Because at the end of the day, SGE is meant to get to the point, right? It's meant to just everything's supposed to be right there, and almost instantly. Authoritativeness. So this kind of goes back to your website, right? How can you show your authority? Your credentials. If you have your credentials on a quality website, if your website is looking 2006, looking like 2006, and you still have a great blog, the odds would probably go down about it's showing your blog
drastically
because it's going to go through your website. It's going to make sure, hey, this is someone that's credible, and honestly, it sounds almost like vanity, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm worried about the way my website looks. It's almost a little bit like vanity, but it does play a part. And also it's easy to say that like, oh, I don't need an updated website because I just need the credible information. I just need the valuable information.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like, you want to be with the times, right? You don't want to be stuck in the past. Everything's moving so fast. We got to make sure that you're moving with it. And then trustworthiness, everything that you say is accurate. Everything that you say is backed, by facts, and that you're not just kind of trying to pull a wool over the eyes. So look beyond keywords.
Yeah, look beyond the keywords, because you can't spell eat with a K. So we get so many calls from, because we create blogs. One of the marketing tools we use here, and I have a lot of conversations with people. They want to pack it with words of they're trying to game the system. They're saying, if I pack it enough with where I am, what type of practice I am, different subsets of my practice areas, it's going to draw people. But the thing is, I mean, if you put yourself in Boston, put yourself in New York, and you're a real estate attorney, or you're an estate planning attorney, anything with estate, really.
Well, let's give an example here, because I believe someone in this chat, Justin, is estate planning from Tampa.
Estate planning from Tampa. I don't know what the population of Tampa is, but I guarantee you it's large. And I'm telling you what, I mean, so if you look at the first page of Google, what you're going to see is a search generated response. You're going to see 3 or 4 sponsored pay-per-click ads, pay-per-click spots. I mean, people are paying for those spots. The more competition, the higher the cost. And underneath that, you're going to see organic results, people searching. In the heyday of SEO, 60% of people went to one of those first 3 organic results. If you were on the bottom of the first page of Google, I mean, I think it was about 2% people. 2% of people that landed would click on it based on that page itself. So if the keywords are so simple, that's why you shouldn't do them, is because everyone's doing them. So if you're in Tampa and you're an estate planning attorney, how many other people are estate planning attorneys in Tampa? You're fighting for either that one SGE spot, which might set a couple of websites, or you're fighting for one of those 3 organic results that are unpaid. So that the spot, the limited space versus the people competing for them, the numbers just simply don't work. So instead of looking at the keywords, you're trying to take content that addresses your users' needs directly. It's covering topics that are in depth without the necessary keyword stuffing that makes you sound robotic. We always say we talk to people, we don't talk to robots. And when you use the precise language, I mean, we hire writers here, I mean, and I'm one of them. But if you have language and logical structure and headings with bullet points that clarify your point and make it easier to read, you're actually, that's the better way of gaming the system if you would want to do it. There are no shortcuts anymore. I mean, the previous point alone should get you to focus on quality content over keywords. And I mean, the keywords that center on practice areas and geographic locations. And the other thing too is the consistency matters. The pace at which you put content out on a consistent basis. This content has to be updated regularly to stay relevant and accurate. I mean, especially in rapidly changing fields. So the consistency is part of it. So if you take anything away from what Google's looking for, don't see it as a shortcut. I hate the word, but it's relevant here. A hack, one of those things that I can hack it. I can figure it out, because if you're in Tampa, there's too many people using keywords for one of those 3 spaces. So again, massive people fighting for a very limited space, and there's just no guarantee you're going to land in there. And even if you do land in there, you're only landing in there in certain searches. So when people say I land on the first page, this is what you search, and this is when you're on the first page.
Yeah, and you said something that I kind of want to expand on a little bit. You said that keywords are the simple way, so that's why everyone's doing it, right? Or everyone was doing it before. And that's the thing, is that we're seeing a lot of these simple things being taken over by like AI functions, right? Yep. And we say it time and time again, we don't believe that AI is going to replace lawyers. We believe that lawyers who use AI will replace lawyers who don't. So now is not the time to do the simple things anymore. Now is the time to take, the people watching this webinar right now, you are taking the time out of your day to expand your knowledge on this matter, which is great. This is a terrific step, because we're gonna need, as collectively as a human civilization, we are going to need to level up our learning, our expertise in AI, so that we are not driven out, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and we talk about, humans and staying in the pack, right? Humans that kind of, going back to our ancient ancestors here, but how they used to be in like groups, right? And you don't want to be driven out of the group. And
He's getting eaten by a tiger.
Yeah. And AI could do that if you're not keeping up with it. So this is good step for everyone.
AI is a flavor enhancer, an assistant, not a dictator.
That's right. All right.
Optimizing
strategies. Yeah.
Which is what we've essentially already touched on. I mean, so when we talk about optimizing, and again, this is not what we do. And the ironic part here is we're actually against this in terms of optimizing your stuff for Google. There's a handful, several other profitable ways and reasons why you should be enhancing content far outside the realm of Google. I mean, you can be a highly successful law firm and never touch the first page of Google. But yeah,
I think let's make sure we emphasize there that we're not necessarily totally against optimizing for search engine. I think that's just a byproduct of what we do.
Yes,
we're just saying that, hey, your focus, if it's on the quality content, high quality content, it's going to indirectly optimize yourself for this.
Yeah.
We're not saying, hey, you should make your content to negate this. We're just saying that it's put the focus in the right spot, and it will do both.
So you're focusing on high quality content. I mean, we throw that word around, like, well, what is high quality content? It's like comparing Stephen King to David Foster Wallace. What is high quality content? I mean, we're talking about, and it's not that difficult, but we're talking about is addressing common questions. What are the questions that people have every day on a daily basis that come into your office? When people find out you're an attorney at a party and they corner you in a corner, what are the types of questions they're asking you to get free advice from? These are the questions you should be answering through your content, through your video FAQs, through your long form guides, through your social media posts, through your blogs, even in your email newsletters. I mean, you can make them even better by including statistics. You can include visuals. You can include examples that make your content engaging. And again, anything that's engaging is something that answers a problem. We're not here to entertain. When I was going through a divorce, I had a lot of divorce questions. I mean,
there it is.
There it is. But this is relevant because, I mean,
Eddie's always
work it in somehow. But the key is, but I know what that feels like in that moment, to be in a legal issue and have no idea what the path forward is. And in that moment, I'm not looking for entertainment. I'm not looking for funny memes. I need help. My assets are on the line, and I don't know. Like, I have a daughter, and there's a lot of this. It's confusing and scary. So when I go to lawyers' websites and I was looking at information, that's all I wanted. That's engaging content for a lawyer. So don't mistakenly think that engaging content has to be anything like what an influencer does. I mean, so you're always writing with your user or your prospective client's needs in mind. It doesn't matter whether they're seeking general information, comparisons, solutions to specific problems. This is all things you should be doing regardless of where you land on SGE. SGE could be a bonus. The Google page could be a bonus, but simply diversifying the types of content you put out. Like, again, I talk about videos, podcasts, infographics, text, etc. That's what you should be focusing on, taking those mediums and answering questions. Not only will that drive you better content and get more clients when they read you and they begin to build the trust gap, getting them one step closer to booking a consultation and trusting you and closing that trust gap, going from a name on Google to someone I'm actually willing to work with. Content does that. And it's also going to benefit SGE too, or your Google search results. So it's win-win in both categories.
Yeah. And we say it time and time again, think of your content like a conversation, like a one-on-one conversation. When creating content, you want to make sure that if you're having a conversation with somebody, you're not just, if someone asks you, hey, what can I do? I just got into a car accident. What can I do? And then you start saying, oh, I am a Tampa lawyer, personal injury lawyer from Tampa. Are you injured in Tampa? I'm a personal injury lawyer. Like, you wouldn't respond that way, right? You would say, oh, okay, you have this question. All right, here are 5 things that you should do right after you get into if you get into a car accident or something like that, right?
Do I need medical attention? Do I need to talk to a doctor? Is documentation important? Show what witnesses should I talk to? Do I need to get their names? What kind of reports do I file? I mean, these are the questions that people are pinned down with, and these are commonplace for you, depending on your law. I mean, these are the bottom level questions that people want, that you have more than enough information to provide them without giving away the farm. You can give away the farm, you don't need to, but it's just that's give them the information they need. Yeah,
absolutely. So there are some upsides. You know, we've been talking kind of down a little bit on you know,
not down, but minimizing. I mean, we don't
minimizing,
need minimizing. Yeah,
sure. But there are upsides. You know, first and foremost, I mean, if your article, if your blog gets chosen to be featured, yeah, Eddie will do a dance. Awesome. Like it will boost your credibility almost instantaneously, right? Because here's the thing is that I'm sure you guys saw it on the first slide, and I'm sure that, you know, you've seen it in Google, is that when it generates a response, it gives links to the sources. So it could have, and this is actually another upside of SGE that's different than, and it's much better than SEO, normal SEO, is that, like Eddie was saying, with normal SEO, you have like the top 3 results getting a huge majority of the traffic and the clicks. And that's only 3 spots. But with SGE, a lot of times it will give you like 6 or 7 different sources and like a line from each, right? Like if you have a question, it'll just give you a quick line from 6 or 7 different sources. So you have an opportunity not only to appear in the first area of the Google result, but also 6 or 7 opportunities within that, even before the first 3 results of Google are even shown. So that is definitely an upside for sure. So,
and the 60% I mentioned, that is before SGE. I mean, this is like before SGE existed. This is where the traffic went. So I mean, I don't have the numbers, but it's going to go down. There's no way that more people aren't clicking on these links in the SGE areas than they are scrolling past it. People don't like to scroll down.
I can only imagine what the numbers will be for how many people actually go to.
Yeah, it's going to take time to see the change in SGE, but I mean, it's happening.
Yeah,
and that percentage chance of organic search is going to drop. Is it because now Google's touting you as the expert? And it's like if Google's touting as expert, I mean, I'm like, whatever. Yeah, but I mean, they're gonna cite you as reliable information. It builds credibility, and that's what branding is in the legal game. Branding is not your logo. Branding is how trustworthy and credible you are. How quickly can you deliver credibility and expertise? That's your brand. Your brand, I mean, your logo is just someone to recognize you, but that's the name of the game. When we say spotlight branding, that is what branding is. It's credibility, it's expertise. I mean, I also point out that even in one of the benefits of SGE is like, in the same thing as like a newsletter, is that even if no one clicks on your page, being featured in SGE still increases the awareness and your authority. I mean, the same way that newsletters do. I mean, even if someone doesn't open up your newsletter, but it shows up in their inbox, they're still remembering your name every time they see it. So so you don't necessarily even need a click, but it does help. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also you see the other point there on the screen. You all are already in the best position to really work this whole SGE thing, because if you do personal injury, if you do estate planning, if you do entertainment, you're already niched down. Niched. People say
I think it's niched.
I think it's niched. But anyways, you're already niched down to a very specific area. So if you're writing content, very specific content about a very specific area, niche content is more likely to appear. So you're already setting yourself up for success there.
Yeah.
So, but there are some challenges and future considerations.
Yep. I mean, so even like we said, the direct answers of SGE, I mean, does not mean users are going to visit your site, which making traditional click-through metrics are going to be even less relevant, as we just highlighted. I mean, there is a higher standard of quality content. It's going to make it harder to stand out, but it's not hard if you put the time into creating content. And there's always going to be the same amount of people fighting for even less space. but we talked about earlier, there might be a little more space given how how many links they're putting in there. So, I mean, like marketing agencies that are going to focus on metrics like citation and user engagements rather than just page visits. So shift your focus away from the gimmicks, the hacks, the tricks, and focus on user-focused content that over pure keyword optimization. Mike did the two parallels of talking. I'm a Tampa personal injury attorney. Oh, that's great. I'm a Tampa personal injury attorney. I'm a Tampa personal injury can help you. It's sort of over pure keyword optimization. Again, the thing is so simple and so cursory that it doesn't it doesn't merit your attention because it's so simple. Because if that's all it took to get on the first page of Google, we wouldn't exist. I mean, marketing agencies wouldn't exist. SEO companies wouldn't exist. If that's all it took. There's keywords, and but AI advancement simply just means that SEO strategies are going to keep evolving, and you have to stay evolving with them to stay relevant. So, I mean, the benefit here is that if you just keep focusing on quality content versus chasing trends, it's going to work in the areas that we've talked about, and it will work in Google search.
Yeah, and the trending towards quality content is across the board, not just for SGE. It's across the board for all AI applications. Yeah. You're going to see, I mean, right now it's a little funky if I was to go in the chat GPT and say, hey, write me a blog about this, right? It's going to produce something funky. I'm going to need to make sure that, it's written a certain way. I'm going to need to touch it up and that sort of thing. But it now uses sources, right? So it gives you sources. So you can see that trend towards quality content as AI advances in all kind of spaces. But also, just to kind of go back to what we talked about earlier, yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are, future considerations. But if you're already, like we said before, if you're already creating that user-focused content, if you're already putting that effort into the quality content rather than the keywords, you're going to feed into this already. You're going to just keep on doing what you're doing, and it's only going to benefit you. Regardless, it already has upside regardless of SGE.
Yep.
Quality content does so much more than just gets you featured on SGE. But now you have a better opportunity of being featured on SGE, and that's just a little fluff. That's the frosting on the cake. Even though I'm not a big cake.
Yeah.
But
I disagree. I've seen you eat a lot of cake. My email is edward@spotlightbranding.com. Mike, what's your email? It's not your first name, is it?
No, it's my last name, Pelletier. Yeah. So it's PELLETIER@spotlightbranding.com.
Edward's easier to spell. So edward@spotlightbranding.com. If you have any questions, something pops up in your head when you're driving home, shoot me an email. I'm happy to talk to you. No worries. I appreciate your time.
Yes, we appreciate you guys, and have a terrific day. Have a terrific weekend.